Are you feeling like you're limiting yourself a little bit, and maybe there's some certain like language patterns that don't make you feel so empowered, or like you've got this certain like identity that's holding you back? Well, today I want to talk about the impact of words and labels on mental health and growth that I've experienced as a man. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra point for you then as well. Now, I have to catch myself out for saying certain words and phrases, like, total transparency, because I'm always growing, I'm always learning. And I've found myself in a recent mastermind, and it's like we're always catching each other out for like phrases. It's beautiful. That's the beauty of a group, right? Now, just for like a rule for this, I would say, because I used to say some horrible things to myself, right? I used to say I'm useless, I'm pathetic, I'm an embarrassment. And quite a lot of these are unconscious, but I would say them out loud as well. And it just used to make me feel like awful. And it's not good, right? You don't want to be feeling like that. So I'm going to go through a process where what you can use to really create more powerful labels and identity. Now, what are these labels and identity? Labels are things we call ourselves, put on ourselves, right? And identity is who we see ourselves as a man or a person, right? Who are we, right? Now, ask yourself this: if you've got like disempowering labels or identity, how does that feel? Does it feel good? Probably not. It feels probably horrible. You probably feel like it's anxiety, this stress, this sadness within you. I've certainly experienced that as well in my life. So I want to talk about what you can do and what I found really helped me work through creating more powerful labels and a better identity around my life to therefore help my mental health and therefore as well my growth. So the first one, create like labels on yourself and an identity of who you want to be. Like imagine like your dreams came true, your wildest dreams, right? And allow yourself to dream. Don't be like, oh, I feel rubbish about myself. No, just like forget about that for a moment and then just be like, right, okay, if I didn't have these and I could unlimit myself, what would I be experiencing? All right, what would I want to be? All right, where do I want to be? And then start thinking about some of the labels, some of the identity around that, some of the words, some of the things you say about yourself, and just write them down. And then what you want to do is read them every day, but don't just read them. Read them with feeling, because feeling and emotion, and then repetition is really going to create an impact in your system. So say these things with empowering feelings. The second thing is write down. Catch yourself through the day. I always like, as I go through the day, if there's something that comes up where I don't feel so good about it, or I catch myself saying a certain thing, or I've got a certain belief that's not my best interest, I'll write it down on my phone and I'll look at it later. And what I find is journaling on it later, before I go to bed, is really, really helpful, because then I can start saying, oh, I believe that. Oh, wow. Okay. And then I'll start asking myself through it until I get a more empowering belief, right? It's like, oh, okay, where's that coming from? Okay. Oh, I don't really, wow. Okay. And then when you start putting things down, you actually start seeing the rubbish you're saying to yourself. And then that creates a visual and you're like, wow, I believe that. So catching yourself and then understanding why these labels, these beliefs, these words are coming up really can create that awareness to therefore change them. And then the final one is listen to someone who is really uplifting, like they, not a sense of arrogance, but they got a huge level, the opposite, they got a huge level of confidence, charisma, and they just like have this energy, something about them, this magnetism, someone you admire. And then start like listening to them or studying to them. You don't have to know them. And then just start making notes about some of the words they're saying, some of the labels they're giving themselves. And if you want to study a famous person, read that autobiography if they got one. That's a really, really good suggestion. Or just listen to a load of YouTube videos or audiobook from them. Right? Or the biography might be an audiobook. But just studying that and then paying attention to the labels they're using. I've studied a lot of like wealthy people, and I start picking up on language they use, and then I start thinking in different ways, and opportunities come. And when I might have said in the past, like, oh, that's a bit of a stressful, tricky situation, I'd say, wow, that's a great challenge to jump into, or a great opportunity, right? So really paying attention to some of those words you can study from other people and the labels they give themselves, rather than studying people unintentionally, usually, who don't make you feel so good. And then the final point, really, really the quickest way to speed this up, that one of my teachers taught me, and I found it so true in my life, especially with recent groups I've joined, is get a group around you. The quality of your life is in direct proportion to your peer group, quoted by Tony Robbins. If you've got a bunch of people who are going to lift you up and empower you, and they're saying great things and challenging each other on their language, like I was talking about at the beginning, then you're going to adapt to that. You're going to adapt to that. There's the classic, you become the 5 people you're around in personal growth. I used to hear that, but I didn't know it until I actually lived it. You can hear something intellectually, but until you actually do it and live it, you don't truly know it. So start thinking about the great people you can get around you in your life, or opportunities to do so, because that's really going to impact the labels and the words you put on yourself. So I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.